So originally this video was going to be completely different. It was going to be a full teardown of this laptop, but of course, as it happens, I had some issues with the video recorder, mainly audio issues. And since I had a couple of hours or so, I did not want to re-record it because I'd have to put it all back together and take it apart. You know, that wouldn't make sense. And I thought about doing voiceover, but instead of what I'm just going to do is just talk about what I did and show a few of the clips here and there of what was done. So basically, you know, there's just a full teardown, took it all apart using the official maintenance guide that I found on MinusZeroDegrees.net. I'll put a link below if I remember to do so. And there's just a bunch of parts sitting to the desk next to me here. I'm in my office. I'm not in my basement where my workbench is or anything, but yeah, there's just a bunch of parts everywhere. Everything is disassembled, taken apart. There are a total of 3 batteries that were in here as well. The first one was, of course, the one that powers the system. Second one was this AA rechargeable NIMH battery. It is the exact size as a AA battery without the little positive terminal there. So I could technically, if I could find a way to wire one of these up, I could use it to replace, but I don't have any welding tools or anything to spot weld the connector on, and soldering to a battery is never a good idea. So, and I mistakenly thought that this was for the BIOS, but no, there is actually a separate coin cell battery, and this one is actually a VGA 2430. Never heard of that, but it's a lithium battery, a rechargeable one. But I think you can replace with an ML or an LIR equivalent. So I'm going to see if I can find one of those online. If not, maybe I can create some kind of a holder or something and figure it out. But I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so the whole disassembly process took over an hour. And then there was additional work with the boards and everything. There were screws that I had to remove that the manual itself didn't quite cover. But all of this mainly was so that I could get to the power board as well as the I/O board and everything. And it is fully recapped as far as the electrolytics go. It was not easy. It was a huge pain in the butt. Initially, I had just replaced this cap here, which is what's responsible typically for the system not powering on. It's the one that's most likely to fail. And this is it here. And on the bottom, you can see a little bit of bulging and even some corrosion there. So I started with that, gave it a test. It did not really work, although the power light issue I had before would just blink. It was solid, which was nice. But as soon as I tried to turn the power on, then it started blinking. So I'm like, all right, well, I've got to get the rest of them out of here anyway and replace them. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. So I replaced the rest of them, including these here, which originally were, and I forget the style, but they're cylindrical electrolytics in like a plastic housing similar to of that in the Game Gear. And I just replaced them with some ceramics. And there were also 2 on the bottom as well. One there and one right there too. So the reason why they were such a pain though is, and I might have to do some little additional cleaning. I got some dust down here, probably it being stuck to flux, but there's some leads right there next to those components there. There's also some leads right there. And they were so close to a lot of these smaller components that I was really afraid of knocking them loose. In fact, I kind of did. I don't know if it's going to show up on here, but I knocked that resistor and that capacitor off. So I was able to reattach them, I hope. So yeah, micro soldering, not my forte. But let's go ahead and we'll get this together and see if it works. All right, got the 2 boards married together. Actually, before I even start that, let me grab one more thing here. Figured just in case, let me get on a silicon mat. So if something does go wrong, I won't necessarily burn the desk down or anything. So got the display connected. Again, got a lot of scratches here, but I think this is just like a protective film, similar to like a screen lens on a Game Boy or a Game Gear. At least based on the manual, this can be removed. So I'm hoping that this is the only damaged part. Though I can see behind it here, and it's hard to see on camera. There's kind of like a bubble behind it, but it could be part of the plastic. I'm not sure, but well, let's go ahead and plug it in and fingers crossed, see if it works. All right, and the power light is on. Not sure if it's coming through or not. Yeah, so power light's on and it's solid. Let's see. Oh, that light came on. but nothing on screen, unfortunately. Let me turn some of these lights. Oh, there's a beep. Let's see. Oh, no. Yeah, the polarizer shot. There's definitely some, what do they call it? Vinegar syndrome. And you can see maybe the bubble's a little bit clearer now. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, the display is kind of shot. I can't even see anything through it. But the system itself powers on, at least so it's not a total loss, but I have absolutely no idea what's on screen. However, we can always hook up a monitor to it through the VGA port and see if we see anything on screen. So let me get that set up. All right, so I've got the keyboard reattached because I'm not sure if I need to hit any sort of function key to get external displays working or not. We've got it hooked up to the Dell monitor here. Let me plug it back in and let's see if we get anything. So far, nothing. Oh, no, there is a screen. At least for a second. There we go. Look at that. It boots. It's working. So, of course, now the question is, what am I going to do about this display? Do I want to actually put the effort in to replacing the polarizer? Because it can be a pain in the butt. They're not that dissimilar from that of a Game Boy, where you're going to spend a long time scraping the old polarizer off if it doesn't just peel off in one go. Even if it does, there's usually adhesive and stuff like that needs to be cleaned up. And this is much larger than the Game Boy screen. The Game Boy screen is about that. So this is 3x4 of those, maybe, something like that. So yeah, it's not fun, but this is part of, retro computing. Replacing the screen itself is also not really an option because the only way, at least as far as I can tell, to get one is by stealing one from another machine. So, unless I'm lucky enough to find another one of these Toshiba satellites out there where everything doesn't work except for the screen, which is not very likely, probably not going to be able to just do a swap. So we'll see. The other option I could possibly do is just try to retrofit a more modern display on here, something that has like a VGA out, and just tie it into the VGA port internally, or maybe even be able to somehow make use of the actual harness and everything if I could figure out what the pinout of these are. And, maybe do something like that. We'll see. So that's an option too, especially since it looks like both would display at the same time. I'm not actually sure. I don't know if this gets disabled when something external is connected or if both are just mirrored. Not quite sure since I can't really see anything on here. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the BIOS real quick and see what options we've got. So I hope it's coming through clearly. Base RAM is 4 megs, and it did come with this Kingston 4 meg upgrade. Yes, it's a card. It's not, a SIM or a DIMM or anything like that. Kind of looks like a PCMCIA card, but it's not quite. The pinout's different intentionally so you don't accidentally install it into the wrong slot. But yeah, on board, 4 megs of RAM. VGA LCD display mode is color, which it is a color display. I'm pretty sure that these also came with like a monochrome. And you can also set it to monochrome even just off the bat there too. So that's kind of neat. COM port, PC card slot. I think there's actually 2 of them. External floppy drive port is actually set to printer because it's a parallel port. It looks like a printer port type. It goes output bi-directional. So you have those 2 options there. No hard disk installed. It did come with a hard drive. It's a Connor, just a standard 44-pin IDE drive here. I think it's at 120 megs. I don't recall. I'd have to look up the part number and see. But I'm going to actually explore what's on this drive. Maybe we'll do that in this video, maybe a future video. Not sure. No power on password. Other options. Power up mode. Looks like it's set to boot. Resume. So looks like it's got some sort of pseudo sleep capability. CPU cache enabled. Sure, why not? Processing speed high, low. So that's your turbo button effectively. Battery save mode. I don't know what pop-up is. Oh, there's your options for battery. What's pop-up? No idea. Speakers enabled. Battery alarm enabled. So those are the options in the BIOS. Yeah, so if anyone has any leads on possible display replacements, let me know. What I'm going to do at some point is actually take the LCD apart because I'm going to see how much work it would actually take to replace the polarizer and everything. Plus, I want to see if I can find like a model number for the specific display, because even though these aren't necessarily available, the panel itself might be somewhere. Maybe there's an equivalent that I can use with a similar or maybe even identical pinout. So that would be very, very helpful. But if not, then I can get an exact measurement and see if there's like a monitor replacement, like I said. So keep an eye out for that video. That'll be, I guess, a part 2, so to speak. And there will be another video for the 1960. And then, of course, finally, the IBM ThinkPad that we know works, but also has display rot issues. So, all right, so I decided to attach the hard drive precariously because I want to see if it will work or not. So let's find out. It spins up. IBM DOS, interesting. Modem not detected. Yeah, it's not plugged in. So, in fact, I don't even think I've got a modem for this one. It was installed on the other laptop. Oh, something's over. Windows, look at that. I mean, these did simply come pre-installed with Windows 3.1, I believe. At least this model. I think the 1960 came with either 3.1 or 95 as an option. Could be wrong on that. I don't recall, but oh, so we've got WordPerfect installed. That's not entirely surprising. Microsoft Project, though, that's kind of interesting. And also we have here AT&T WorldNet, Eudora Lite email client. Got a Microsoft mouse, so they had a Microsoft mouse installed, it seems. Juno, not sure what that is. I've never actually used that before. But I don't have a mouse hooked up now, so I don't know. Yeah, just your standard fare. Let's see. The keys are not in the normal spot, like the control key is above shift on this, which is kind of interesting. Let's see. Oh, Microsoft Office is installed as well. And what else do we have here? I guess that's basically it. So, yeah, they got Microsoft Office in here. Looks like it's just Project. All right. Oh, Project is old. I didn't realize that. Anything in the startup folder? No. What about in the applications folder? Oh, that's just Procom Plus, WordPerfect, all that. So, yeah, I'm not going to poke around and see if there's any like documents or anything like that, of course, because potentially dox anyone, even though the information on there could be, decades old at this point. So, and possibly out of date, but interesting, the hard drive is working. Surprisingly, I may do a backup of it just to have it archived in case there's any software on here that isn't archived anywhere on the internet, because I don't know what DOS applications might be on here. I'm going to assume WordPerfect 6.0 is out there. Procom Plus is probably out there, Project, all that, but I'll poke around just in case to be safe. So yeah, as far as the internal display, yeah, not much I can do with that. Obviously, right now, I may attempt to do the polarizer replacement, but we'll see. I'm not quite sure of my skills on that one, but one of the reasons why I went ahead and took apart the 1900C is because it is the weaker of the two laptops. And anything I learned from here can be applied to the 1960, which is the one that I would really like to preserve. This could become a parts machine if I can't do anything with the display. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, if you guys have any leads on the screen or like an equivalent replacement, let me know down in the comments below. Obviously, you can't put links down because all the spammers and everything ruined that for us. So, but if you've got any other tips or tricks for this particular series, let me know below. Otherwise, thanks all. We'll see you in a future part 2.